Get ready for today's shocking cheating stories. Story 1. Friend's wife wanted me. Here's a quick story of how I lost a best friend over the summer. At a music festival, my friend's wife tried having sex with me. Twice. I was the third wheel for my friend and his wife. There was supposed to be much more people, but everyone else bailed. The first night there, she was very flirty through the night, commented on how good I looked, etc. We were shotgunning beers and taking shots together. After, I woke up in the middle of the night to her in my bed, kissing me all over. I truly don't remember anything else. The next day, I was trying to keep my distance, but she wouldn't stop flirting. Nighttime came. She was attached to my hip, taking selfies with me and following me everywhere. When we got back to the B&B, we were outside, and he was distracted, and she wouldn't stop trying to get me to go to sleep while everyone else was outside. I ignored her, and the weekend ended. Week later on a boat trip, she was very intoxicated and expressed her feelings. Said she wants me all to herself. If I would went with her to go inside, I could have got some. She was only trying to hook me up with her ugly friends, because she wanted me for her. All she wants to have is fun and so on. She was all over me, and I kept pushing her off. Eventually, I told my friend, we no longer are in contact, blocked on everything, and they are still together. I should have just fucked her. At least I would have got pussy out of all this. Story 2. Wife cheating before marriage? So I have been married for 1 year now and have been dating her for more than 9 years. Before marriage, we were living in different cities. I just saw a photo of my wife of 2 years back. She was on a Valentine date with a guy with wine, strawberries, and stuff she likes. I feel very betrayed. She never told me anything about this. What should I do? Story 3. Being an introvert helped me catch a cheater. So I've always been a quiet, observant person. One of those introverts who just sits back and takes everything in. Turns out, that worked in my favor when I unknowingly started picking up on small details that didn't add up in my last relationship. My ex thought I wasn't paying attention, but I noticed the subtle changes, the way they suddenly became extra protective of their phone, how their texting pattern shifted, and even the weird excuses for being unavailable. I didn't confront them right away. Instead, I just kept watching until I had enough to confirm my gut feeling. Long story short, I was right. They were cheating. And when I finally called them out on it, they were shocked that I had pieced everything together. Story 4. My husband masturbated at a peep show. Is this cheating? My husband admitted to me that he attended a sex shop which had a partitioned area where patrons entered an individual booth and placed coins in a slot which activated access to a see-through window. He said on the other side of the window a girl danced naked and that he watched her and masturbated to the point of ejaculation. I only found out through a female friend who observed him leaving the shop, and when I first confronted him, he lied and said it wasn't him. But I later checked his bank records and saw that he had made a cash withdrawal at bank next to the store at the time he was alleged to have been there. After I caught him out, he broke down crying and admitted what happened. He said it was the first time he had done anything like this and that he has no reason for his behavior. I am shocked and horrified, and I always imagined that side of life was for lonely and creepy old men. I don't want to touch him. I can only imagine how filthy it was in that booth. Has my husband cheated on me? Story 5. Wife cheated after 6 months of marriage. My wife, 33, and I, 37,
Story 5.
got married after dating
Wife
for 2 to 3
cheated after
years.
6 months of marriage.
It was a great relationship
wife,
with being in
33,
love and traveling.
and I, 37,
I was
got
down
married
for
after
her.
dating for 2 to 3 years.
After we got married,
It was a
things
great
started to fall
relationship
off.
with being in love
I
and traveling.
transitioned to a new position
I
in
was
leadership.
down for her.
Became a little insecure about
After
it.
we got married, things started to fall
Wasn't
off.
sure of myself.
I transitioned
and at the
to a
same
new
time,
position
wife
in
got
leadership.
promoted.
Became
Was
a little
making twice
insecure
as much
about
as
it.
me. Now,
Wasn't sure of myself.
after 6
And
months
at the
of being
same time,
married,
wife got promoted.
my wife cheated on
I was
me with
making
her
twice as much
ex-husband.
as me.
After 6
She
months of
initially
being
saw him
married,
at a concert
my
a month
wife
ago
cheated on me
and
with
got
her
curious
ex-husband.
and
Texted him.
She initially saw him
During
at a
that
concert
whole
a month
process,
ago
she said
and
some
got
pretty
curious
hurtful
and
things.
texted him.
Mentally checked
During
out.
that whole process,
Not attracted
she said
to
some
me.
pretty hurtful things.
Wants kids, but not
Mentally
with me.
checked out. Not attracted
She
to
said
me.
that I got
Wants
complacent,
kids, but not with
and that I
me.
didn't contribute
She said that I
anything to
got
her.
complacent,
and that I
One
didn't
day we got
contribute
into an
anything to
argument.
her.
One
And
day
she
we got
needed
into an
space.
argument.
So
and
I
she
stayed at
needed
a friend's
space.
house for like 2
So I
weeks.
stayed at a friend's house
During
for
that
like 2
time,
weeks.
she met up her ex-husband.
During
and
that
slept
time,
with
she
him.
met up her ex-husband and slept
I
with
didn't
him.
know all this at the time.
I didn't know all
I came
this at
back
the
and
time.
tried everything.
I came back
from
and
trying
tried
to take her
everything.
out.
From trying to
On
take her out.
dates, flowers,
On dates,
etc.
flowers, etc.
She told me that she wanted a divorce. She confessed to
She
seeing her
confessed to
ex-husband,
seeing her
but only
ex-husband,
said that
but only
kissed.
said that kissed.
Even finding that out, I wanted to try to work things out.
Not knowing the true story
Not
yet.
knowing the true story yet.
Instead,
I even got my own place to
I
give her
even
the
got my
space she
own place
needed,
to give her the
thinking
space
it
she
will help
needed,
our marriage.
thinking it will help our
Eventually,
marriage.
things started to turn around.
Eventually, things
And it was
started to
kinda
turn
getting
around.
better.
And it was
We
kind
were
of getting
going out
better.
on dates,
We were going out on
communicating,
dates,
Until the day I found out the truth about the affair. I found out the truth about the affair. I went through her watch and find out she's been seeing the dude. I went through her watch and having sex with him multiple times. She's been seeing the dude while he has having sex with him multiple times while he has GF. I think they even talked about being together. I find out that she went to see the dude while I was at home watching her get ready to see her girlfriends when she was actually going to meet him up. I confront her and she confessed to everything, crying and saying she wants to work things out and that she's sorry. I try to file for divorce. She doesn't want to sign. Time passes. She gives me a sincere letter where I kind of believe that she wouldn't do it again. She says she wants to have kids with me. She cuts her ex off and stops all contact. The letter was so sincere. So we try to work it out. I try for about 1.5 years but still can't get over the affair and the hurtful things she said. I feel as if she did it yesterday, even though years have passed. She said it was a mistake, but was it really a mistake with the planning? And multiple times they've had sex. Like, I still love her, but I just don't know how to live with it or move on from it. We eventually do get divorced. I move out. It's been 6 months since the divorce, and she still really wants to reconcile and has been persistent on getting back together. I love this girl, and I miss her, but I'm just not sure if I can live with the affair. I feel like I'm always going to feel like second place, and I'm afraid to keep trying to eventually feel like this in the end, wasting both our times. Story 6. The universe is so powerful. Quick background. My ex-girlfriend, 20, and I, 21, have been dating for over a year. Before we broke up, she was always going out with her girlfriend, named Isa, Hispanic. She was always at her house, picking her up, and hanging out with her literally 24/7. However, beforehand, I had a suspicious feeling about one of her guy friends, named Ivan, Chinese, although she swears he's just a friend. After we broke up, we went no contact. For some reason, I had a gut feeling telling me to look up information of Isa's address. When I looked up Isa's address, it said that the owner and the people living there were Chinese. This was very suspicious because Isa is Hispanic and Ivan is Chinese. This drove me crazy for weeks trying to figure everything out. This past Sunday, my best friend and his girlfriend went to a restaurant in New York. They ended up running into my ex with Ivan, both of them alone on a date. Out of any restaurant in NY, and at any time they could have went, they ended up going when my ex did. The timing was actually crazy. My best friend started texting me about it. I then broke no contact with my ex and confronted her about it. She didn't reply and immediately blocked me on everything. I still had my ex's location. So before my ex went to the restaurant, she went to Isa's address first to pick her up. Ivan. I count this as cheating because when we were still together, out of all the times my ex was hanging out with Isa, it was actually Ivan. By the way, Ivan has no car, no license, and is unemployed. So it makes sense how my ex hangs out and drives him around 24/7. Always trust your gut. The universe is insanely powerful. Story 7. Found husband cheating. So I always in the back of my mind knew he was, but kept denying it. I just never had proof and thought it only went as far as him liking girls' photos and so on. We've been together for 6 years, have 1 kid, and now another on the way. I just found out he cheated on me. He doesn't know. I know. I have solid proof of the cheating. I'm just so sick I'm not sure what to do. My kid is so young and I'm pregnant, which makes my decisions harder. I depend on him finically and don't know how to go about it. I've been a stay-at-home mom for all these years, and now with another on the way. I just feel stuck. The #1 thing I hate is cheating, and now it's happened to me. What's worst is that I was having complications with my pregnancy, and during that time, he decided to go sleep with someone else. That just means he's done this before. I just can't believe it. I don't know what to do. I want to cause a scene, yell, break things, but I just can't. I know I want to leave him. I just don't know how. I would have to start over with nothing, with a young child and soon to be newborn. I'm so angry, yet I feel sorry for my kids. It hurts to know the person that shows me love every day is also the person that betrayed me the most. Now I know it's just a show he puts on so he can feel better about himself being a good husband and father. I feel sick to my stomach knowing he kissed them then come home and kiss us. If I knew that, I would have never been intimate with him. I mean, who would know since he is my husband? Just looking at him disgusted me. I don't want him to even touch me. Please, if you've been through this, what are some solid advices and what should I do from here on? Sure, I could leave him and start over, but that will be very hard. I don't know if I can do it. I'm just so sad I can't stand it anymore. I have no one to vent to, so just thought I'll share it here for some true advices. I hate everything and so angry. Story 8. I caught my dad cheating on my mom 4 years ago. She died in Dilek, and I'm at a crossroads on how to proceed with my dad. My mom had been really sick the past 7 years. And 4 years ago, I thought it was the end, as she had machines breathing for her. During this time, I noticed my dad was acting funny and was ridiculously late to visiting her, as well as making excuses to leave the house when she was well enough to be back home. I decided to pay attention to solely him. I moved back home to be closer to her during this time. One day, he was in his office talking to someone, on speakerphone like the cocky asshole he is, but the door was open, so I decided to pull my phone out to record that and 2 other convos. When I listened to them, it was obvious that he was talking to an affair partner. In one convo, I guess she went on vacation, and he got pretty needy in the convo, saying how he thought he lost her because he couldn't get a hold of her. In another, she says they should stop and he brushes her off. I was in shock and still kinda am. At the time, I didn't know what to do. My mom is essentially on her deathbed, and because she physically can't have sex anymore, instead of accepting that, my dad has decided to seek that elsewhere, even when she was in the hospital and had machines breathing for her. I knew that this information would break her, and I wasn't going to tell her, nor did I want to confront my dad, who himself acts like a know-it-all, especially when it comes to what I should be doing around my life. So I decided to wait. Maybe it was lapse in judgment, and he would come back and be the husband my mom desperately needed. Seriously, if she ever needed him to be the man he said he was when he married her, now is the time. That didn't happen. Instead, he would giddily leave for work, argue her about mundane things, and his mistress even sent baked goods to him for his blee day, of course no return address, that he happily ate in front of me and my mom. She died in December, and this has only amplified my hate for my father, as I felt he put me in the uncomfortable position of keeping the morale of his marriage intact, when that isn't what I'm supposed to do at all. He still has no clue that I know, and that I have him tape recorded. Everyone thinks he is a good Christian man who loved his wife to the moon and back. At the wake, everyone impressed upon me how important it is for me to be there for him, and I can't do that. I'm actually in Japan, RN. Trip was planned before she died. All coincidence and a blessing that I have this time to myself to properly grieve her, and I'm here till March. I'm just not sure how to proceed when I get back, and a huge part of me wants to expose my dad to everyone for the fraud he truly is. He isn't sorry and never will be. Will only be sorry that he got caught. I can already hear his shitty apology of, "I've made mistakes," in my head, and TBH, I just want to ghost him. I don't see him as a role model or example and never really have. I just see him a pussy-whipped bitch, especially after hearing him on those calls. It's very obvious it was a fling for the mistress, but to him, it was more, and his whiny neediness bleeded through those calls. He sounded pathetic, and some things you can't unhear. I've done therapy before, and may enter therapy for this because I know I need to talk about it, but there's really nobody I can talk to about this. I'm 42 if that matters. Story 9. I was blindsided completely and don't know what to do next. To start this off, we met in an airport in 2020 and got each other's numbers. Then, I messaged her for 6 months or so, and then we agreed to actually date. I always thought everything was perfect. Sure, she was a little weird sometimes and would get angry at me and yell, but she's probably just sad. Fast forward to 2024. I watched a couple of her friends' stories after she ignored me for a couple days, and in the background saw her. She was making out with someone who she told me was just a friend. Past that, everything has unraveled until January this year when I actually confronted her. She denies everything and is now saying that I was toxic and an abuser to everyone. Sorry for messing up this post. I'm new to this, and alcohol is now my only friend. Story 10. I found out my BF cheated on me when I was on a flight a week ago. Me and my BF have been dating for a year, telling me and my families he wanted a serious relationship with me and get married to me. A week ago, I went to a flight. I am a flight attendant, and I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and it happened to be he was also dating her for 5 months, and they met at a club, which was a coincidence. After a day, I sent him an attachment of what I found out with our pictures, and she did the same. Then he ignored us both after that. My mind is baffling how he could do such thing to me while he met my families and told them he wanted to marry me. Story 11. XGF thinks she didn't cheat. Hi, this is my first ever Reddit post. I am Dutch, 25M, and I've now a Polish XGF, 20F. She ended our relationship in not a fancy way. After 3 years, 1 year of those we lived together in the Netherlands. I will split it in 2 parts to get some better view of the situation. Part 1. The breakup. It's Friday night. I came home around 1800 from a 70-hour outdoor project in another city. I came in and found her all dressed up, ready to leave, looking like she wanted to be gone before I came home. She didn't want to tell me where she will go and with who. Only in the doorway, she quickly whispered I need to be alone. This didn't raise immediate suspicion, but it did not make me feel all too well. So I started to worry. I know she doesn't have many places to go this time of the day. I called someone over to prevent me from doing something stupid because my tired body/mind could not take it, and I felt adrenaline rush coming. After some wild thoughts of where she might be hanging around and if we should go look, I got a message at 2300, I am with a girlfriend, followed by I will stay the night there. This, of course, did raise some concerns and suspicion. I still didn't know where and with who, but I didn't want to blow it up. I was on 2 hours sleeps away. I only thanked her for letting me know and wished her a good night. On to Saturday, big part of that day, I was stressing the F out, but I did got to know from a mutual friend that she will go to the sea. Meanwhile, I heard nothing from her until 1700, when she only told me she won't come home again. This raised even more concerns, but I still didn't want to take any drastic action. My mind/body was still recovering from the week, and I had at least some contact with mutual friends that could update me. So I kept quiet and quickly forced myself to sleep with the thought of, she must know what she is doing. On to Sunday, the big day. That day I heard nothing from her. Again, I was texting more mutual friends thinking if we should go look somewhere. But then she came home, in the evening, looking completely lost. And then, it all happened fast for me. She sits, I sit, and before I could even ask anything, she ended the relationship. Turns out she used the week I was away from home to think she was already forcing herself into the relationship for a couple months, and was not being her true self anymore. Our culture collided too much, and our way of communication in English isn't what she wants anymore, even though she was about to get language courses through her work. And after we were done talking, which only was for about 10 minutes, she left again to stay with that girlfriend. So that's mostly how the breakup moment looked and the biggest things that caused it. If you want more details, it can be asked. So now on to part 2, and why I am actually here. You can already guess it by now. From that Friday, of her already being prepared to leave, until coming home Sunday evening and leaving again, was one big tangle of lies from her part. I found 2 unknown boxer shorts on the drying rack Monday evening. Shortly after that discovery, she came to prepare packing her stuff. She saw that I found the boxers and said she planted them there so I would find it out like that first. Then a 5-minute bombshell came, because it created the opportunity she needed to tell the truth. Friday, she met with a Polish coworker, which she was already having text contact with for some weeks. That Friday, they slept in a car. Saturday, in a hotel. She took his boxers and all other clothes they used in the hotel home to wash. Sunday, after the official breakup, she went to his house and hooked up. She didn't tell me when, but she assures me it only happened after the breakup. Hey shit, I say, did I just got cheated on? Well, she thinks not, because there was no physical contact before the official breakup on Sunday. I find that hard to believe still, because they did spend some nights together already. But let's just all believe it. She thinks that all the weeks of them having contact through texts doesn't count. Our final words looked like this before she went away. Her argument: there was no physical contact before the official breakup on Sunday, so it's not cheating. My counter: during the time you still had a partner, you were getting emotional connected to some other guy, and you must have been creating some tension through all those weeks of texting. How else could you end up hooking up with him so easy after a breakup? So, to circle back to the main question, did my ex-GF cheat? And why is the answer a yes? I want to use useful answers from others' POV, besides our inner circles, to try and put her and people she is wrapping around her fingers out of being in denial. It's creating already tension between mutual friends and sides are being picked, without me having the opportunity to have any say in it. Thanks for reading, feel free to ask anything. UP date. I got to know that the guy did the complete same. He was also planning to dip out of his relationship. Both were just afraid to do it the right way. I am 100% convinced it was a planned event for weeks. They are now waiting until his ex moves out so they can start living together. Her way of telling the story, she already convinced her mother and her aunt, who is one of my best friend's mother, to not see this as cheating, which created a flood of tension in the family and our circles. I already know that some of my relationships and view of some people I was close with will change, but if that has to be, so be it. Update 2. I went to look deeper into the term of monkey branching and read some stories about it. Now, after some days and a lot of useful information I got to know from people noticing her behavior at work, I've came to the conclusion she did exactly that, monkey branching. Starting a emotional/mentally relationship with another person while already having a partner, and only shoving me aside when she was 100% sure she would not end up without a roof over her head or somebody that would take care of her. People gave me the opportunity to talk more and tell my side of the story, which was build upon that monkey branching. Now those people can do what they want with both stories. Some cut me off, some cut her off. But I am happy most stayed neutral in all this. Now, with help of this post, I found a way to tell my story and what extreme feelings I experienced the last few days. Now, I won't tell those feelings are gone, but I did share them in a good way with the people close to me, which was the goal of this post. It will be a help on getting me back on my feet. Thank you all, and specifically the people that mentioned the monkey branching. It helped a lot in finding a good way to tell people. I hereby won't update the post anymore or respond to comments. You can of course still write me a PM if you want to know a bit more, or just on how I am doing. Or just talk. 12. Mom's cheating on my dad. I need serious advice and suggestions. Please help me. So basically my mom has been cheating for last 3 years with a neighbor, and I knew all of this since then but never could tell my dad, and now this has increased so much that she is on phone with him all the time she is alone, and now not only him but she has been texting 3 to 4 other men too, who all are also married and has kids, and they're my dad's friends. I read in class 12th, and all these things are eating my head. Please help me out and tell me what should I do because I feel so basically about my dad. Loudly crying. Loudly crying. Story 13. I sleep with a friend's husband, she found out. I deserve these. Before the affair, me and him always felt strong connection between us, but we have been ignored, avoided each other since he's married, been friends with them for years, until recently has been closer than a friendship. We went for racetrack cars, cycling, climbing, skiing, camping together, and nothing happened for years till it's normal for us, and his wife was consent. It's been closer to 4 years that we have been avoiding our feelings and do the right thing. Before Thanksgiving, he confessed how he felt about me. I also felt the same, but we stopped it there. If I get further, it will ruin his life. It's not fair for him or her to lose his family just to follow our desires. Our heart means nothing. We went climbing again, had long talked, had dinner at his place. We finally kisses for the first time. I spend the night there. Only one time. Then he went away for business trip with his wife for a month. We keeping in touch, sharing pictures of our day. At this point my feeling with him is much stronger in the positive way, and I want to stop doing this because it's wrong. They got back. We agreed to talks the following day. Then we would stop but need to talks in person to avoid misunderstanding. But at the same night, his wife found out about us. Next day she'd filed for divorce. Same week they are separated. Same week he's moving out. I haven't had a chance to talk to him or her. I expected that. This is my fault. I help him cheat on her. I am totally selfish. I choose to follow my own feelings over others. I can't do anything about this situation, only to watching 2 people suffering from my selfishness. I slept with him not because I hate her and not because I want to shatter their home life. I slept with him because I am selfish. Followed my heart's stupidity. For my part, as a bad person, I'm not in the position to fix things for them. Only I can do is cut contact with them even. It's not what I want. Not again being involved with someone who is married. Edit on 2/5. Met up with the wife and the husband. We had long talks, and we'll meet up again next week for 3 of us. What happened was that the husband used me as a ticket to get out off his relationship so that his wife, his friends, and family could have someone to blame for. What an idiot me. Teen. I am an accidental homewrecker. I met a guy on a dating app, and for the past 2 weeks we were talking. We ended up hanging out one night, and all we did was talk and eat ice cream in my car. The next morning he blocked me, so I got curious and looked him up on Facebook. Found out he was in a 2-year relationship. After some deliberating, I messaged his girlfriend what happened with proof we have been in contact. It wasn't much because all of the messages got deleted. She didn't believe me. I'm not going to defend myself and force her to believe me. What's done is done. I feel bad though because she's being used and will continue to be used. I've been in the same boat. How would you feel if you randomly got messaged by someone saying your long-term partner was unfaithful? Moral of the story: do your research. Story 15. Cheated on while postpartum. I, 27F, recently found out my fiancé, 30M, cheated on me after being together for 3 years. Before I found out, he would always accuse me of cheating, and I thought it was just due to his past relationship with his ex of 5 years cheating on him constantly. They've been apart for 10 years now. But after her messaging me out of the blue with evidence of them having a physical affair and an emotional affair, she bragged about it and they started talking again when I was 1 month postpartum. And they actually did the do 2 days after my best friend died and I was mourning her heavily. I am now 10 months postpartum and figured this out last week. I get panic attacks, my heart races, My mind sinks into the void every time I look at him. I see her. I feel extremely betrayed. And he said it was a mistake, and he doesn't want to lose me, but everything he has done says otherwise. I am leaving him. I just hate this pain and wanted to see if anyone else could relate. Story 16. I thought she was the one. February 4th, 2022, marks 3 years since I found my ex was cheating on me. This is where I've truly given up on relationships. So I had a history of being dumped for no apparent reasons, which kinda made me lose faith in getting into a relationship. However, I met this girl named Caitlin on my first day as a freshman in high school in my art class. She sat at the same table with me and some other kids, and we actually got along really great, and we ended up exchanging numbers. It was around the time we were getting close to summer break, and she asked me on a date, and I was a little hesitant because being dumped for no reasons, in which I told her about this, and she told me she'd never break my heart the way they did. She's right, because she broke it way worse. We started dating over the summer before we started our sophomore year, and man, I loved being with her. She made me forget about everything negative that was happening in my life, and I just felt like this was actually going to be different with her, and I could see us lasting for a lifetime. However, during our senior year, I noticed a change in how she was acting. She was at times distant and annoyed whenever I was around her. I would try to see what was going on, but she wouldn't tell me anything. I thought she may have needed her space, in which I gave her, but it was approaching her birthday, and I figured I'd go shopping to get her something for her birthday. I got her a card, along with her favorite flowers that she liked, but when I went looking for her, she wasn't around, and first thing I thought was that she just didn't show up to school. But it was only until I was walking to lunch, I heard her voice, and she was calling some guy baby. I poked my head around the corner to see her rubbing on some guy's arm, and they were flirting with each other and rubbing on one another. I walked from out of the corner but didn't say anything, and I just watched as she pulled him in for a kiss, and they were making out. As for me, I just threw the stuff I bought in the garbage and just walked away and blocked her number. I've avoided any areas where I saw her, and I've just remained by myself ever since. Story 17. I think I might have been cheated on. Long story short, my 19F boyfriend, 19M, are long distance. He goes to a college 3 hours away. He told me he was going to hang out with his friend, but turns out he actually went to said friend's girlfriend's dorm and drank with her for 2.5 hours. I had to basically pull teeth to get the truth out of him, but he kept claiming nothing happened. He lied to me multiple times, threw a pity party for himself, apologized a million times, got very angry with me multiple times, etc. during this conversation. This was over a year ago, and the more I ask him about it / reread the texts, it just doesn't make sense to me that nothing happened. I believe I was cheated on, and I have no idea how to move forward. Story 18. I think my marriage is over. I met a man who I thought to be charismatic, loving, caring, handsome, everything I could have wanted. We got on so well, we were inseparable. 3 months later, we got engaged, and 3 months later, we got married. It was a fairy tale wedding, and our honeymoon was absolutely beautiful. Been married for 2 years. I was a virgin and remember crying the next morning for some reason. I thought because I lost a sense of my innocence. I wasn't sure. I noticed that my husband's attitude towards me seemed different the morning after our wedding. I remember asking him what was wrong because he seemed slightly distant or cold. He said nothing, so I brushed it off. But ever since then, I noticed a difference in his behavior towards me. Nothing major. We lived in his parents' house, and then a few months later secured our own home. A few months after moving into our own home, he started smoking weed every day. A habit I thought he had quit a long time ago, but something that started in his teen years. He also did other drugs occasionally for the fun of it, which were experiences that we bonded over, as I had never been exposed to these things in my life. He smoked weed for 1.5 years of our marriage. I tried getting him to stop, but ultimately it was something that had to come from him. My trust issues with him started when I noticed his change in attitude towards me. I didn't understand how someone could just change suddenly, so I naturally questioned things. Since the beginning of our marriage, I saw increasingly suspicious behavior over time, starting from scratches and marks on his body, to marks on our bed and walls that could easily be explained away. One day I saw a bank charge for something unusual. I asked him about it. He said it was a game, and then admitted he paid for a live online video chat with a woman. I made it clear that this was borderline cheating for me, and it was not acceptable, and that if cheating ever was to happen, I would be out. A month later, I found a lipstick stain on a glass in my dishwasher, so I searched his car and found a pantyhose sock with the same lipstick color underneath where his spare tire goes, and condoms underneath his driver's seat. He said the lipstick on the cup could have been mine, the sock could have been his mom's, since it was his mom's old car, but we had cleaned it out, and the condoms he said he wanted to use with me when we went on like a bush adventure. I believed him. Well, I tried to, but it was difficult. A few months later, I went out for the day, and he said he was going out with friends, which he never did, so I encouraged him. He only came home at like 1 a.m. that night and was crying, saying that he had a lot of drugs, went to a massage parlor, and there was a girl grinding on him, but he didn't end up doing the deed. He was worried that he might have herpes because he was seeing bumps on him, but I didn't see anything. I took all of my things and left the house. The next day, he told me he couldn't have done that to me, and he was just hallucinating. He showed me $100 note that apparently was all that he had with him. We used joint bank accounts. I chose to give him the benefit of the doubt, since he was definitely hallucinating the spots, so maybe he had hallucinated the whole thing. I went back home and things were good for a few weeks until he told me to stop asking him about it, even though I was still trying to wrap my head around the whole incident. It obviously still affected me. He had his location on for a little bit to help with trust, but it was occasionally off, he said, because his phone was dead, and he eventually turned it off because he didn't believe in that sort of relationship. He started to become suicidal in October last year and was telling his parents that our marriage wasn't working out anymore. He practically blamed his unhappiness on me. He eventually decided to quit weed and thought that going to Bali for a few days would be a good place to do that. He was looking at detox retreats as well. He told me that he wouldn't leave me at home alone if it wasn't that bad, and that he was only doing it for me, and that was the only thing getting him through it. Little did I know that on top of 4 condoms that were missing from our bedroom that day, he had also been to the pharmacy to purchase condoms and delay gel. He sent a long message to a girl on his way to the hotel, tried calling her 6 times, and then FaceTimed me an hour after writing the message. He told me he was going to walk around the hotel and then go watch soccer. He proceeded to ignore me the entire day while drinking and spending time at the pools. He then called me the next morning, telling me that he doesn't know what happened the previous night, that he had downloaded Tinder, checked the cameras, and a woman went to his room for 20 minutes and was scared of having herpes on his lips, which again I couldn't see. He said he drank 36 beers and tried to swim out into the ocean to drown himself, but a lady pulled him back out, and he woke up on the shore. He then again ignored me the following day, continuing to drink until he worried his loved ones. He said that he was trying to commit suicide and said goodbye to his family. The hotel reception staff told me that he was okay. He had just made a mistake with his wife. Above everything, all I cared for was his well-being, and sent his brother to go and get him. The next day, he was crying at the bar, calling me to go and get him because he was in such a bad state and scared of himself. His brother went to get him. When he got back, I got him hospitalized for 2 weeks until he started antidepressants. Hooked on the drama? Make sure to subscribe for more cheating stories. Story 19. I thought we were perfect until I found out the truth. I was with him for almost 7 years. We were happy, or so I thought. We were engaged, spent time together like any couple should, and had the support of our families. I believed we were solid, that nothing could tear us apart. We even spent holidays and weekends together, and for all intents and purposes, everything seemed perfect. Then, mid-July last year, my world came crashing down. I found out that he wasn't just seeing someone else behind my back. He had been hiding an entire life from me. He had been married in June and, to make it worse, the woman he married was pregnant with his child. I couldn't believe it. It felt like a nightmare. How could someone I trusted so deeply be capable of such betrayal? What hurt the most wasn't just the affair. It was the way he disappeared from my life without a single word. No apology, no explanation. He completely ghosted me. A 7-year relationship, all wiped away like I didn't matter. What made it even worse? His family and friends knew everything. They knew about the affair, the wedding, the pregnancy, and yet not a single person had the decency to tell me. Not one person stepped up to warn me or even try to protect me from the heartbreak. I was left in the dark, completely blindsided, like I didn't deserve the truth. To the other woman involved, you may think you've won something, but you're just as much a victim of his lies as I was. He's not the prize you think he is. He lied to both of us, manipulated you into thinking you were better than me. I hope, for your sake, you wake up to the reality of who he really is before it's too late. And let me be clear, karma has a funny way of showing up, and I truly hope it doesn't bite you back the way it bit me. To him, I can't even begin to describe the level of betrayal I feel. You didn't just cheat, you shattered my trust, my sense of self, and my belief in what true love is. You ghosted me when I deserved answers, and you let your lies ruin everything we had. But guess what? I'm not broken. I'm stronger than you'll ever know. I've learned that what you did to me wasn't a reflection of me. It's a reflection of you. Here's the truth. Cheating isn't just about breaking a promise. It's about tearing apart someone's sense of trust, causing them to question everything they believed in. It's about the trauma that stays with a person long after the lies have been exposed. If you're unhappy, walk away. Don't destroy someone else's life. Don't drag them through the pain of finding out the truth the hard way. Because once you betray someone, you can never undo that hurt. It stays with them forever. As for me, I'm healing. It's been a year since this all happened, and while the scars will never completely fade, I'm learning to rise above it. I'm a fiery Leo, and if there's one thing we know, it's how to come back stronger after being burned. I trust that everything happens for a reason. If God took him out of my life, it's because he has something far better planned for me. To anyone going through a similar experience, know that you're not alone. Healing takes time, but it is possible. Don't let anyone, especially someone who doesn't deserve your love, make you feel less than you. You are worthy of respect, honesty, and loyalty. The right people will find their way into your life when the time is right. I genuinely wish you both the best in your new life, but I also hope you never have to feel the pain you've caused me. Karma has a funny way of working, and I know the truth will always come out. What goes around, comes around. You two are exactly what you deserve. It's clear to me now that you are fated to be together, because you're both cut from the same cloth, cheaters and manipulators who thrive on deceit. I can't say I'm angry anymore. In fact, I'm thankful. You've saved me from a future with someone like him, someone who hides the truth and betrays trust. You two are a perfect match, and it's almost poetic. Finally, you've found each other, and that's the way it was always meant to be. Now you can live in your own little world of lies, where you can never hurt anyone else with the same deceit you used to tear apart my life. Maybe you both can be happy in your version of reality, but I know this: you'll never know the depth of the pain you caused. I guess it's a blessing in disguise that you both ended up together, because now you're no longer out there ruining anyone else's life. You're no longer part of the population of cheaters who prey on the trust of others. Finally, you're in your own cage, where you can do what you do best: betray and deceive, without dragging someone else through the mess. So, here's to you two. You can have each other. You were meant for one another, after all. It's a shame that it took all this pain for you both to realize it, but I trust that karma is already working its magic. In the end, the truth always comes out. To everyone reading, trust in God. Trust in your worth. Don't ever settle for someone who isn't willing to fight for you. And never forget that your pain is only temporary. You will come out of this stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. Be kind. Be honest. Be loyal. Don't let anyone play with your heart. 20. I caught step-grandpa cheating on Nana, now I'm the bad guy? This is kinda complicated and I need to vent. I was on TikTok and got suggested to follow accounts. One was my Nana's husband. I clicked the account out of curiosity and saw he had a video posted of a screenshot of a girl, probably age 18 to 20, possibly younger, honestly face vomiting, laying down in a bikini. I thought it was weird, but it was an edit-style video. Like on CapCut, he had a few CapCut videos posted, so I thought/hoped he accidentally posted using one of the preset photos people post for others to edit in their own photo. But not even a week later, I found his Insta threads. It's full of him replying to OnlyFans girls, telling them how pretty they are, how he wants to make them feel good, asking for a good time, and going as far as to say the region that he lives. Risky already, but worse. Once I realized he posts photos of the inside and outside of him and my Nana's home. I sent screenshots of everything to my mom asking what to do, and she said to send the screenshots to my Nana and bluntly tell her. So that's what I did. My Nana said, "Thanks for the information," and sent a red heart after I said I love her and I'm here for her. A few hours later, she texted to tell me to mind my own business and focus on my life, then blocked me. But she made spelling mistakes and wording that she didn't use ever before. And I'm 99% sure her husband did it. I went to look again, and all his accounts he did this on are now private. I'm scared to try to reach out and get yelled at, just because I did the right thing. Eat it. I forgot to add that at Thanksgiving, just a few months before he got drunk and told me it was completely normal and okay for men his age to want to have sexual relationships with 18-year-olds, my Nana got extremely upset about him saying it. When I looked at the dates of his replies and the ages of the girls, it all lined up. It was all posted between September and November. All the girls had been age 18 to 30, so to anyone thinking she was okay with it, please know that's not the case. Story 21. Found a condom in partner's drawer. 25 YF 28 YM. I have been living with my boyfriend for 3 years. We shared a bedroom and bathroom. We ended up getting into a huge fight 3 months ago. I ended up moving out because he got angry and damaged my belongings. We didn't fully separate, and he tried everything to fix things between us. Instead of me moving back in, we decided to take it slow, and I started staying with him on the weekends. This morning I went in the drawer to get a razor and discovered an unopened condom in the drawer. It was not there before. Since we lived together for 3 years, we shared the drawer. We never used condoms. When he saw my reaction to seeing it, he had this "I'm caught" look on his face. He then started apologizing, and he came up with 2 different stories for why it was there. He has cheated on me in the past, and like an idiot I forgave him. Now he is upset that I don't believe him or trust his story. Am I wrong for permanently leaving him for an unopened condom? He keeps telling me he did not cheat. Story 22. Seeking some honest advice on what I should do. Hello there. Just 3 days ago, I caught my fiancée cheating on me. I came home from work early to surprise her on her birthday since we didn't get to spend the whole day together like she had wanted. When I came home, the door was locked and she opened it naked. I knew then. After I found him, I snapped. I have serious problems with depression, and I honestly am struggling to pull it together. This one really hurts me. We have kids together. Twins. Their birthdays were 4 days before she cheated on me. We have had a horrible past, and it was filled with so much lies but so much truth as well. It's been so rocky, but for the longest time, everything has been absolutely amazing. I truly felt like the times were getting better, so much so I gave her an engagement ring because I finally thought she had earned that place in my heart. Now, I DK what to do. No, I am truly fucking hopeless right now. I don't know who to tell how I feel. I wish I could disappear. Story 23. Girl being nonchalant in relationship. We've been officially dating for more than 6 months now. Before that, we were just seeing each other. Everything was cool until 2 months ago when I went on a road trip with my boys, came back after 20 days. Off. My girlfriend has been pointing out about me being distant from her and not giving her attention. Meanwhile, we're both working and she isn't even allowed to take her phone with her, made to keep outside. When she's on her shift, we usually talk after work or meet sometime. She then left her job due to pressure, which then gave her full access to her phone, which she could connect with me. But the thing is, I am an introvert, 24M, and don't always like to chat, but meet and spend time. If she isn't working, her outings are also reduced. She insists on keeping in touch throughout the day, which I don't mind, but I have my job to do as well, a momio, after my work. I usually call her to avoid the delay and promote direct talk. I've noticed is, she mostly don't call. I have to request her to call. If I don't call then, she'll have the audacity to say I don't give her attention. But most of the time, I call or talk about 30 to 40 minutes. Same goes for text. For a while, I was busy with a project which requires me to travel and work as well, which led to more silence between us. Still here too, I was forced to make calls and request her to meet. Till this time, she has a new job which again requires her to submit her phone beforehand. I was the one to initiate conversations, meet, and also pamper with conversations. I am getting fed up because a lot of energy is being used here, and it's more of a request kind of thing rather it being from both sides. All blames are on me. I am the one who's the culprit, and still efforts are all here. What are your thoughts on this? I did my best to explain, but still there can't be enough. Story 24. Cheated by husband, need advice. If your husband had a relationship for 7 years with a girl and then after they broke up we got together and married in 3 months, he still had contact with the girl after marriage and confronted me after a year that he still talks to her, and he stopped talking for a while and then next year he talks to her making a fake Snapchat account hiding from me and caught him with it. What should I do? I have already gave him a chance the first time and he still did the same thing the next time. Please someone advise me with it. 25. I really hate my exes. So far, I've had 2 girlfriends, and they both cheated on me. The first one apparently was a lesbian, who cheated on me with some fattest, and didn't even bother telling me until months later, and my supposed best friend knew, and didn't tell me about what she did. Then, 2 years later, I got another girlfriend who I thought was into me and really liked me, but apparently she was also with some other guy, and she broke up with me without telling me, and again my friends knew but didn't even bother telling me about it. Now, some girl is asking me out, but I'm scared to say yes because I don't want to deal with getting cheated on again. Story 26. Ex cheated whole relationship. She was hot and acted like she really loved me. I got tested a couple times while we were together. BC, she seemed secretive, but looking back, she was cheating our entire 2-year relationship. I remember she got BV a couple times when I hadn't had unprotected sex with her recently. Found dating apps on her phone, but when I looked in them, there was nothing. Probably deleted it. She would go dressed revealing to see her therapist. Then I remember one time her period started that day, probably BC side dude knocked it on. That final straw was I went to grab her phone and she grabbed it away saying she has banking information she doesn't want me to see. Also wore nice underwear to work. Moral of the story, if her gut feels weird, it's right. And don't ignore any red flags. BC. Women are great at hiding cheating. Thank God I never caught anything. I actually dumped her due to these reasons. I never found actual proof, but those signs are pretty clear. She denied everything, didn't like me asking her questions, and said believe whatever you want. Also, our sex dwindled at the end. Story 27. I think I'm being cheated on. My boyfriend, M, 38, and I, F, 33, have been together for 5 years. For the last 3 months, he's been acting distant. He's constantly on his phone and carries his phone around him all the time. After work, he used to come home straight away. But now, I noticed he has been coming home later. He says he's going to the gym after work, but one time, I went to the gym and couldn't find his car anywhere in the parking garage. I have a feeling he is cheating, but I don't know where to start, and I don't want to confront him without any evidence. I know we are not married, and I can leave, but it's not that simple. We live together, and I do not want to just end it unless there's evidence. I've been wanting to go through his phone when he's not looking, but I haven't been able to do so. He carries it wherever he goes. I'm wondering if anyone has any tips to share or stories on how they were able to find out. Story 28. Cheating girlfriend gets the best date before getting dumped. Always trust your gut feeling. That's what I should have done, but here we are. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 6 months now, and it's been a rocky 6 months, to say the least. I've caught her lying before about where she was and who she's been going out with, and overlooked that. She constantly replies to guys DMing her, asking her on dates, although she doesn't say yes. She also doesn't say no to them. It's almost she doesn't shut the door completely and leaves it ajar for some reason. Anyway, we've both been on vacation to our home countries for the last month, and we were doing pretty well talking over FaceTime. She goes out to the club often with her friends and says that everyone does that, and that the culture there is unlike the Western world where everyone just wants to hook up. Fast forward till 2 nights ago, when one of her friends DMs me a video of my girlfriend dancing with her ex and kissing at the club. Her friend apologizes for what happened and wanted me to keep her name out of this, so I agreed. I had planned a date for when we get back so I can ask her to be Valentine. First thing on the agenda was getting her nails done, then do a treasure hunt around the city with cards that would recreate our first date, then go for dinner, come back to my apartment where I'm planning to have balloons, gift basket, and a bunch of other cute shit. I think I'm still gonna do that, and then later in the night drop her off at home. But when I drop her off at home, I'm gonna drop the bomb on her that I know she's been cheating and I will be no longer with her. How does this sound? I want her to have the best date ever before I break up with her. Story 29. Leaving because of cheating is not because you're insecure. Granted, everyone has a flaw and rightfully may be insensitive about it/insecure. It's all about not bleeding it off onto your relationship. I can't stand the she left you, but it has more to do with their insecurities. They need to love themselves more. Like apparently they do if they left. They know their worth, so what FKN sense does that make? People leave after cheating because it's infidelity. No matter if it's casual flirting, texting, or straight-up intercourse. You sneak behind someone's back that will forever linger and destroy their trust. If they get back with you, I hope y'all both have matured enough to know that you are the best person to be with. Story 30. My 29F husband, 31M, has been cheating on me for years and I just found out. I have been posting here for a while and some of you would be able to recall my previous posts. This is going to be a long one. I had to delete my previous account because my husband discovered I had been posting and found my post. Once he does, he starts gaslighting me that I have no original thoughts, and strangers from internet can brainwash me. I have been with him since I was 18, and we have been together for 10 years, dating for 8 years, married for 2. We lost our virginity to each other, or at least I did. He is a person who is extremely good at lying, manipulating, gaslighting, hiding, and denying. He has no principles, boundaries, or integrity. Throughout our relationship, I have discovered multiple questionable things in his phone. It includes sexting with random girls, masturbating to their nudes, looking for hawkers online, looking for SHDY massage centers, and more. Every single time he was able to cover it up by blaming it on his friends doing it, or getting him to look for this stuff for them, or simply brushing it away as something he did out of curiosity, and I believed him. Every time, he swore to me he wasn't lying and promised nothing like this would ever happen again. I believed him as I couldn't believe someone could lie like this. The recent episode started when I went through his phone following a suspicion. This is the only way I can find out the truth, as he is never open to an honest conversation, and discovered he went to Pattaya when we agreed he wouldn't. But he lied and went anyway during his trip to Thailand that he took by himself while I was away in a different country for an exam. All he visited there was Pattaya Walking Street. When I questioned him about what he has been up to, he kept on lying and didn't mention Pattaya, and swore he didn't do anything in Thailand that he shouldn't have. However, my instincts were strongly telling me something is very wrong, and I kept on probing. After a week of pleading him to tell me the truth and threatening him that I have proofs, he finally admitted to having had massages with a HND job where he just touched the masseuse's breasts and ass. He swore to me with conviction that that's all there was to it. I didn't believe him and kept on questioning him while he kept on lying and swearing that he has told me the complete truth. Meanwhile, I also discovered contact numbers of PMPs in his phone who would supply hookers and share their rates and pictures to choose from. When confronted, he said he'd simply contact them so they'd send the pictures of the girls that he would masturbate to, and that's all. He told me, "You have no proofs because I haven't done anything more than that, and I cannot tell you something that never happened." He said, "You cannot break me no matter how much you insist, as I'm already broken and have told you the complete truth, and I cannot tell you something that never happened." He said, "I have never had sex with anyone else, as I finds it, GRSS, doing it with hookers, and he is not attracted to anyone other than me." I asked him, if it's just about pictures, why can't you search them online? He told me they don't have the same effect as they aren't real girls. After another week of pleading and crying and going through the worst anxiety of my life, and asking me why does he only look for hookers in the cities and countries he visits? Why does he not contact PMPs in countries he has never visited, if it is all about pictures? When I said this, he didn't really have a reasonable explanation, and finally admitted he has also been having sex with hawkers for years, both in our home country and other countries, both before and after our marriage. And given for how long I've been discovering things like this, it has been going on since the start of our relationship. Sometimes it was following a massage and other times just sex. One time he even made a hawker stay longer in his hotel room for 2 hours so he could have sex with her twice. He said it always happened with a condom on. He blamed it on his high sex drive and said he would always feel bad after doing this, and has been trying to stop it for ages. All this drip feeding occurred over a course of 2 weeks after me begging him for truth so we could move on. While he was doing this in Thailand, he kept telling me how much he is missing me and how depressed he is being there all by himself. When it comes to me, he is extremely controlling and insecure. I can't even breathe without his approvals. I can't even get a massage from a guy, while he gets it from girls all the time. One time I went to a club by myself in the country I was visiting, and he made a huge deal out of it. He started blackmailing me that if I am to be his wife, I won't go to another one again. He contacted my family and told them how I consider it I am as someone only interested in drinking and clubbing, and can't be bothered to reply him. He has also been abusive throughout our relationship that escalated a lot after our marriage. He has slapped me across my face multiple times, sometimes one after another continuously. He has pushed me around, squeezed and twisted my arms, thrown me very forcefully on bed, pulled my hair and whatnot. He'd block the door and physically restrain me and grab me and throw me on the bed if I tried leaving. He'd keep me from packing up my stuff. I have pictures on my phone with bruises on my body following his abuse. He is also emotionally and financially abusive and manipulative. After all these episodes, he'd apologize and promise not to repeat it. He'd also blame it on me being verbally abusive in my fits of anger following his fuck-ups. All of this happened while he claimed to love me more than anything and beyond any measures. He'd act so well in front of my family that even they would believe that he loves me so much and I am the problem, and would tell me the same. He also confessed his family, his parents, and even maternal aunts, has been feeding him that how to treat your wife in a certain way to keep her at her place. They'd tell him, "You do so much for her while she doesn't reciprocate, and this will set the tone for your entire life, so you should control her now." He'd fight with me because of them, and how I don't mingle with them enough. By this point, I had had enough and was ready to leave him. And then he again started apologizing and pleading again, and promised that something has shifted in him now. And he always wanted to tell me all this by his own accord at the right time. He is a changed man now, after I went to the club, and the emotional turmoil he went through because of it, and finally understood how I must have felt. He promised he'd fix everything, and will be the best husband anyone has ever had. He'd give me access to his phone and his live location, and would do anything to gain my trust back. I don't know why I am writing all this. Maybe something in me still believes he will change. I am completely shattered and heartbroken, to say the least. I dedicated 10 best years of my life to him. I still can't believe myself my partner of 10 years has been doing this to me. How? I always thought men who went for paid sex were the lowest tier of men, and could never believe he was capable of doing this. I had no idea I knew him so little. I feel like I am an idiot who has been living under a rock. How easily he was able to fool me. I feel completely defeated and yet stuck, and don't see a way out as of yet. Just say anything you have for me. Story 31. How to heal from 2 years of lies. I found last Friday my ex-girlfriend was taking advantage of being long distance by having 2 boyfriends, that I know of, alongside a few short flings, all while telling me I was her soulmate, the love of her life, and that she always pictured her life with me. I feel a shell of myself at the moment, and she gets to go her separate way and continue lying to multiple guys. I only found out via one of the 2 ex-boyfriends messaging me and exposing who she really is. It turns out she'd be saying all the same things to him, while also meeting up with the first ex-boyfriend behind both of our backs. She sold me a dream, and I was stupid enough to buy it and ignore all of her red flags. I really need advice on how to heal because I've felt sick ever since I found out, and I can hardly eat, and all of my friends and family are extremely worried about me. Story 32. Am I being cheated on? Yesterday morning at 9:40 a.m., my boyfriend, M21, sent me, F19, a screenshot of his phone screen because of an unrelated topic to this story. But on the top left of his screenshot, I saw that the Return to Previous App button said Tinder. I asked him about it, and he told me that he only re-downloaded it so that he could fully delete his account because he remembered that he had only ever deleted the app when we started dating. Then 20 minutes later at 10:03 a.m., he sent me a screen recording of him trying to get into his account using his phone number, and it's saying that his account was banned. Now from here there are 2 versions of what the truth of this matter could be. His explanation. He had actually already deleted his account and let his roommate use his phone number to make a new one, because the roommate got his own number banned, and then his roommate got my BF's number banned as well. He apparently forgot all of this yesterday morning when he decided to delete his account until when he got the app and then realized he couldn't get into it. My intrusive thoughts about the truth. His number was already banned before or around the time he met me, so he made a new Tinder by logging into his Facebook, which is the account he met me on. Yesterday, when I caught him on it, he was on that same or possibly a new account he made using Facebook, which he quickly logged out of or deleted so that he could go back to the login screen and send a screen recording of him trying to get into the account that he already knew was banned to cover his ass and make it look impossible for him to have been on it. Some more details that feel necessary to include. This all happened 2 days after we were considering breaking up. If you were in a trial phase with your girlfriend, would you be getting Tinder to look around for your next girl or to delete your account? He told me very early into our relationship that he deleted his entire account. This honestly still makes either story possible. We've been exclusive for 6 months. If his story is true, then why did it take him 20 minutes to figure out he couldn't even get into his account? Wait, why didn't he just warn me what he was doing beforehand like I did for him a couple months ago when I deleted my account? Why did I never know he let his roommate use his number to make a new Tinder account? I'm sorry if this is confusing. There are just a lot of moving parts. I'll answer any questions I can, but I'm just looking for help in sorting out if I should believe him, or possibly any advice to prove the truth, whichever outcome it may be. Story 33. Is my partner a sex addict/emotionally broken or just a cheater? I am torn to really identify what my partner's motive really is. I am 28F, he is 28M. We have been together for 5 years. He has a porn addiction and a specific fetish I cannot provide for. Due to shame, he kept chatting on Reddit with people about the fetish, which was not okay with me. And when he told me, I found out how much he was able to lie to me. He was able to gain my trust back, and for 2 years we had a really loving but low in sex relationship. During year 3, I was going through a family member not talking to me anymore, and a near burnout we got into a dead bedroom situation. This is when he was presented with the option to have sex with someone matching his fetish. If he had talked to me, I would have been okay with it, but he never talked to me about it, and had sex with her 4 times, which was non-emotional. This was while I was traveling for work, which is how he then also continued to find another woman and had sex another 4 times with her. This is when he ended cheating, which was over a year ago. In hindsight, our dead bedroom was not only caused by me being in a tough mental space, but also him disconnecting after cheating. Our last year had been another emotional roller coaster, with him losing his job and me still struggling with my family falling apart. We almost separated last week because he was so sexually frustrated that he simply wanted sex and got it. I was away due to our fights. As background, he struggles with his fetish and shame around it. He masturbates multiple times a day if he's alone at home. He spends countless hours on Reddit sexting also during work times, and he's really conflicted about all of this. His other personality is a really loving partner who has completely transformed my childhood home with me into a place I feel at home. He spent countless hours helping my family, and he truly is emotionally close to me. We have grown together so much, and finding this out took me by complete surprise. I do not really know what else to do besides recommending him to go to therapy for sex addiction and childhood trauma, that he feels like lying is the way to be loved. He's been super sad and emotional, which he usually suppressed. He's only cried 3 times in his life after childhood. Now he's been crying for hours and nights because he can't believe what damage he caused. I really want to make things work, as I'd like to generally. And that's been my plan for quite a while, to have an open relationship with him. But how am I supposed to do this without trust? Story 34. Blacked out, made out with a random girl, lost the alarm bell. For context, about 3 months ago, I was out with some friends drinking. I blacked out, and the next morning I woke up in a random girl's bed. She told me we had made out the night before, and I was so drunk I feel asleep in her bed. I'm so ashamed because I had a long-distance GF who I loved. More than anything, I've always hated cheating and never understood how someone would do it, but here I was being the cheater. After about a month it happened, I told her, and we broke up. We're still on good terms-ish, because apart from that incident, we had a strong relationship, but we are currently no contact, and I fear she won't ever talk to me again. I'm the asshole, and I've done everything I can to try to make it better, but DK, if this can be fixed. I tried counseling, but it didn't really go anywhere. I joined a Christian organization which is helping, and I'm focusing on work, meeting new people, and being healthier. But even with all that, I miss her every day, and I DK what to do. I'm just very lost, and I was hoping for wiser PPL to help me out. Story 35. Stuck to a serial cheater. Where do I begin? I've known my husband for 10 years now, and I have given him so many chances to change, but everyone around keeps on proving that he will never change from his old ways. I have tried my best to pray/fast hard, and even go to church for more prayers. I have consulted with other couples and even took several therapy classes, and it's the same issues. He has a habit of flirting with girls online, and from the start I told him that's cheating, but he always said there are no emotional attachment, and I am always his woman. I had to involve a pastor to come talk to him and revisit couple counseling. And what constitutes cheating? He just changed to be now hiding it well. And for me, I thought we had moved past it, until I got pregnant with our first. When I was 8 months pregnant again, same thing happened. I told his family to come get him since I will be calling police if he resists living. They persuaded me. Let him stay since it was lockdown time, and he stayed. But we went to counseling and prayers. Months passed until I found out that he never stopped, and he apologized, deleted a bunch of things, and we continued. As we progress, I just find that he is remorseful, but also plays victim in the process. He says because he did not come from two-parent home, where a man was a role model. I too was raised with my mom, however. That never crosses my mind as to how it might have affected me. I don't know if I do have something I need to work on because of that. 2 years ago, we almost got into a divorce, repeatedly repented, went for deliverance, and we were counseled by our pastor and put back our rings. I am just finding he is only getting worse. For the holidays we were on vacation, and once I was back, he stayed behind with his friends and cousin. Find out he slept with 3 different women, and while I was pregnant, he had been in an ongoing relationship with his colleague. He was sex-chatting another girl the very next day after my delivery. This time again, the counselor we went to, who is a pastor, is trying her best to convince me to stay with him. He has gone into a 1-month fasting and prayer the entire January, and promising he will change. This time I have taken all the measures possible not to be convinced that he will change. It's making me feel like we are stuck in a toxic cycle, and I am fearful for what our children will learn from this. I feel like he takes no time to value me until I threaten to leave. He makes me feel special only to blind me so that I do not have any suspensions on what he is about to do next. At this point, I am wondering, thinking face, what else has he done behind me back? He is acting now like a poor lost sheep, so I can feel sorry for him. Even though in church they have committed to help him with his sex addiction and believe for his deliverance, I feel like the damages for me are so deep. There are times I can't even sleep. I can't eat in 3 weeks. I lost 10 pounds due to stress, and I cry a lot when I remember the entire betrayal. Even thought of suicide twice now. The worst part is that he really believes that I need to stay. How shameless of him. I am feeling like he has narcissistic traits and only wants to save his image. I have a forgiving heart, and as soon as I tell you how I feel, I am back to normal. This marriage makes me feel like I am worthless. My mom is so mad at me for not telling her sooner and not leaving yet. His dad begged me to stay for at least 6 months of counseling. For me, in my heart, I need encouragement to value myself more and stick to this decision. I cannot stay. I have been humiliated for a very long time. I do not even remember how it feels to be loved and valued as a woman now. I don't remember how it feels to have a genuine person next to you who respects you. I wonder why my hurting is not regarded as something to be considered by this marriage counselor when he just says I am crying so hard for what I have put her through and how I'm ashamed of everything. I'm working so hard to change and will commit to everything to change makes more sense to the marriage counselor. I'm starting to see the manipulation in using the word of God that the church will be using to keep a families together yet suffering. Raising children in broken homes and unhealthy toxic environment. Pensive face. The counselor is even asking me, do you want another man to raise your kids? This days men be molesting stepkids while you're away. This made me so mad I feel like I can't go back there anymore.